not Kyle Katarn was just like.
Well, and I think part of the reason they did it too was if they did use those characters and fucking kill them off.
People would have rioted. I'm pretty sure people would have rioted.
Yeah, exactly.
Kyle and Jan are probably, I don't know.
That's the point of this.
They're some of the most popular EU characters.
Right, and that's part of the Rogue One thing is just like, this is basically a suicide mission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like...
But see, Kyle and Jan were good enough where it wasn't.
And in the movie, Jin isn't like Jan. Jan was an Imperial person. Jin isn't in the movie.
Her dad is.
Her dad was forced because he's super clever constructional
engineer man.
Yeah.
In the original canon, it was a space alien lady named Zux that designed the Death Star.
Well, actually...
This dude designed the Death Ray.
Well, actually, if we go by George Lucas, the only canon...
Yeah, she designed pretty much the whole thing. She's part of some species of super intelligent creatures, and the Empire, like, kidnapped her when she was just a little fucking babby and stuck her in the Maw installation.
Because she was so smart, or was there...
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because she was so smart, and she's the one that came up with the Death Star Destroyer.
Was it...
Death Star.
Was it with the Kyber crystal things?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's the same thing. They use that.
She had no idea how evil the Emperor was. She believed the propaganda fully. She thought that the Death Star was just, like, used to mine dead planets and giant asteroids. And Kip Duran was just like, no, it's not. Did you see the name? And she's just like, Death Star. And clocks turn a little bit, and then she just starts fucking crying.
It's ignorant.
She's like, it's all my fault. That was in Jedi Academy series of books.
Oh, the books of the Academy? Okay. Mm-hmm.
Kip Duran's a little shit too, because he falls to the dark side because of the ghost of, or not the ghost, the fractured spirit of Exar Kun, because I guess the rest of his spirit's back on Korriban. But one of the temples on Yavin 4 was Exar Kun's temple, and his spirit was corrupting Luke's students. And Kip falls to the dark side, steals the Sun Crusher, and goes on a mission of revenge against the Empire for killing his family and conscripting his brother. And he goes to the Academy world where his brother's at, and he's like, where's my brother? Or give me my brother, I'll destroy your system. And they're like, oh, he's dead, he died a while ago. And then he fires the fucking torpedo into the sun. And as it's going supernova, they're like, no, we found him, we'll bring him to you right away. And you're just like, it's too fucking late, you dumbasses. Your system's gonna blow up. And like right at the last minute, he tries to get his brother in the ship, and then the supernova hits the planet they're on, and
they disintegrate?
Yep, his brother disintegrates, and the explosion, like, makes the hatch on the Sun Crusher slam shut, and it throws Kip into the wall, and he gets knocked out. And when he wakes up, the entire system is just gone because he destroyed it.
So what were they saying about Anakin and Luke being Mary Sue's?
Well, the guy was basically just going like, if Rey's a Mary Sue, then Luke and Anakin are too. Like,
well,
Star Wars.
Anakin not as much because he actually got the full training and everything. We just didn't see it. Mm-hmm. Luke, sure, he did get a very small dose of training. That's reflected in his fucking skill, though, too.
Or Luke.
Luke.
Oh, yeah. Luke became a full-fledged Jedi in like 5 years.
That was after he fucked off and did his own shit. Because he was only realistically with Obi-Wan for a few days. And then fucking...
What? I thought it was a couple weeks.
Huh?
I thought it was a couple weeks.
A couple weeks. Regardless, that's still not very much time.
No.
But
there's Jedi that train their whole life.
He's also being trained by the ghosties of Yoda and Obi-Wan simultaneously in the gap between Strikes Back and Jedi.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I said.
But those first 2 movies, he doesn't get very much training at all. Yoda, he's not with for very long
he's
either.
Getting his ass handed to him by a little fucking ball.
Well, exactly. That's just it. I said it's reflected in his skill. Because, I mean, Vader, at that point, too, was all fucking, like, clunky and shit. And, like...
He was with Yoda for months, if not, like, a year.
On Dagobah in the second movie?
Yeah.
But in the first movie, I think we're talking about... in comparison to The Force Awakens.
Oh, yeah.
Rey's introduction and Luke's introduction, and how they both learn the ways of fighting styles and things like that.
When did Luke come back from Dagobah? In the third one?
No,
he went back in the third one. Just to
he was just there for so long because Han and Leia and Chewie and all those guys had to go to Cloud City without hyperdrive. Because they were leaving the fucking asteroid field of Hoth, of the Hoth system, by the time they escaped the Empire and Boba Fett starts tailing them. And they didn't have a hyperdrive because the Empire knocked it out.
Yep.
So, and the closest...
Well, did they knock it out, or did he just didn't get the chance to fix it on Hoth? Chewie was fixing it.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Chewie was fixing it the whole time on Hoth.
Well, either way, they didn't have a hyperdrive.
Right, so they had to take the long way.
They had to do sublight drive.
And during that time, Luke was training on Dagobah, and then he was like, alright, your friends need you. You better go to the Cloud City.
There was just nothing going on in the Falcon after they escaped the Empire and started getting tailed that there was no point in showing it until they got to Cloud City.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no way that it was just like an afternoon drive down the road.
True.
Right.
Like, I don't think even the Falcon is that fast in sublight.
What's going from
Though
one
I'm
system
sure
to
I'm sure
a different
Yoda
system.
I'm sure Yoda compressed a bunch of shit to teach him, but like still though, a year's still not a lot of time either.
Yeah. But keep in mind, Luke is a Skywalker. And that's...
Yeah, but Anakin took all that time too.
That's true.
Anakin was his whole life. Or, well, 10 years or whatever.
But if we're going by the logic of this Star Wars story of Anakin was molded by a Dark Jedi into being.
Yeah, he was being groomed by the Dark Lord of the Sith, like...
Right from conception.
Yeah. Yep.
He was made of Force material.
Yep.
Of either what they call the living Force, or...
Which then makes more sense to why he would be a little bit more able as well.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Luke's got he's part Anakin, but I mean he's got actual people DNA in him too, you know.
Yeah, so he's more attuned to it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Luke's more attuned than average, but like
that means Rey's parentage has to be something big, because she's
either a Skywalker or a Palpatine.
If they make a good reason why she's so powerful right at the beginning,
Kenobi.
if they make a really good reason in the next movie that she's that powerful for that specific reason,
I might forgive him.
That she might be a daughter of Sheev or something like that.
I
like
think
he
that's,
willed
I think that's
her.
the point, though. I think that's the point, though, is the fact that her parentage or whatever is very strong in the Force, and that's why she is the way she is.
Which would be cool that she was molded from Sheev, and that's why they're like, all right, we need to get this girl out of here and away from darkness, and just let her just stay on this deserted planet by herself.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, on the flip side, the balance is that the good guys conceive a kid that goes to the dark side.
Right.
Just so backwards.
That'd be cool, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of like the balance right there.
I'd be cool with that.
That's the balance, where you have the dark side creating life that just becomes wholly good, and the good side creates a person that becomes wholly bad.
It's another aspect of the balance.
Yeah. Which is something that if they tap into and they have a good reason behind it, that'd be sweet. If it's just Snoke that made her, I'd be like, well, who the fuck is the Snoke guy then?
Yeah, right.
Why do I give a shit about the Snoke guy?
Right.
Toss out that cowabunga.
Or yeah. I mean, I like that. I like the Sheev idea better than
Obi-Wan.
One of the heavier rumors is Obi-Wan,
which I could
get.
Luke's daughter?
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
It's not that easy, man. I mean, it could be, but I doubt it.
This part was pure pottery right here. This is Kylo's sword. It's in the upright cross position. It's to signify that he is ready for his journey to redemption.
But too, if it would be poetic too.
I do want them to do this.
If she is a relative of Kenobi, because then it's a replay of Skywalker and Kenobi.
I want her to be a Palpatine, so we gotta do it.
I do too, but I mean, like, just for this instance right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pottery.
It would be pottery if she was related to Kenobi, because then it was dark side Skywalker versus light side Kenobi.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling that Kenobi will be an integral part in the next movie for some reason.
Yeah.
Because then they're gonna come out with the standalone Obi-Wan
Yeah, that's
story.
the heavily rumored one right now because they haven't announced it, but they're saying they're saving Obi-Wan for something. So there's a purpose.
It's a big image. Oh my god. Photoshop.
Yeah, I love the Daisy Ridley edits. They just make her teeth so fucking big. And big boxy head.
Poor girl.
Oh, they're calling her Raven. Oh, yeah. If she's Darth Raven, that's dumb. I think Kylo is supposed to be the embodiment of Revan.
I can see that.
Well,
he's got the Mando style mask.
That's what they're saying too. Is that
and they just Hasbro did just release a Revan Black Series action figure.
Yeah.
Ren
is.
They had the Hammerhead Republic Cruiser in Rogue One.
Huh?
They had one of the old Republic Hammerhead Cruisers in Rogue One.
Yeah,
they have what appears to be the. God, I forget what it's called.
They have that Twi'lek ship from the Rebels in it.
Yeah,
too.
That's what I was gonna say.
It's a cameo.
Yeah, the ship from Rebels. Yeah.
And they actually call her by name, but they call her Admiral or Captain, whatever title she's not in the series.
Mm-hmm.
They call her that later on in the future, so that's why the Twi'lek person. I don't know her name.
Oh, fucking Hera.
Whoever drives that ship.
Hera.
They what's her last name though?
She's Syndulla.
Syndulla. They call her like Admiral Syndulla.
She's Cham Syndulla's daughter.
So they make a reference of that in Rogue One. They say we need to contact Captain or Admiral, whatever title. Syndulla.
Nice.
I've been thinking about buying that Revan action figure just to
I get that.
So that's the only reason that Disney makes movies, or any kind of movies like that are made, is because of toy sales.
Well, that's why they make most of their shit. It's the merchandising.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it was smart that they bought the merchandising powerhouses of Lucasfilm and fucking Marvel.
But it's not smart that they're totally obliterating all the canon or the previous EU shit that they could have been making merch off of, like Revan.
Like well, they're still mining that shit.
If EA makes a solid Jedi Knight game, I will forgive them.
They haven't made a good Star Wars game in a while.
Mm-mm. Did they ever make a good one in the back in the day? Because I think it was all usually like straight up LucasArts and
they had
like Konami that would make the Star Wars. Was it Konami?
Capcom.
Capcom
made the Super Star Wars.
Yep.
And LucasArts made Rogue Squadron.
Factor 5 made Rogue Squadron.
Did they?
Mm-hmm. Oh. LucasArts just produced it.
I guess they did those click adventure games like Sam & Max and Monkey Island and shit, which are fine.
Yeah.
That was completely LucasArts, but that was not Star Wars.
And those are classic games.
So they got to outsource a third-party person to make some good games like BioWare, even though BioWare is meh right now with Mass Effect jump going on.
Yeah. Well, they got rid of like one of the head writers that was really good, and they replaced him with whoever that lady is that put in the fucking Ghost Boy story arc in Mass Effect 3.
Oh.
You know, the kid that dies in the shuttle, and then you just have nightmares about him.
Yep, and he's throughout the whole thing. He's like, push this button.
And then at the very end of the game, the hologram on the whatever is the kid.
Well, what about games like Force Unleashed, where at the time it was canon?
It's not canon anymore.
It's not anymore, but at the time it was, and Luke gave it like alright, cool, he did have a secret apprentice, that's awesome. Later on down the road, I think that would have been sweet to have something like that happen.
But they also kind of overwrote Dark Forces, because Galen Merrick stole the Death Star plans too. So there's two Legends stories.
They used Galen in the Rogue One movie.
Did they?
That's the name of what's her face's dad.
Oh yeah.
They call him Galen, and then the plans were called, like, in the movie they called the plans Project Stardust. And they call out a bunch of different plans too, like they make reference to Black Saber. They make reference to all these different plans.
Black Saber? Nice.
They make reference to it, and she's just reading out all these different things, and she's like, oh, look, This one's called Stardust. And
Maul's got that shit still in Rebels, the Black Saber.
Did they do Project Dark Trooper? So they're doing that in Rebels.
They have.
They better put in fucking Kyle and Jan, because that's their fucking story.
The thing is
that is 100% their story.
The thing is, with Rogue One, what they did was take something that was already obliterated by the focus group or whatever, the story group people, but they took it specifically from that and just placed it in the movie.
Yeah,
so
they just changed the character's name.
If that one element from that was taken,
for getting technical about it, Georgie Boy said only the movies are canon.
Yeah.
But
well, he canonized certain books too.
Yeah.
Like the Jedi Academy was trilogy was
he told the writer of the Star Wars Republic comic book series to not kill off Quinlan Vos in Order 66 because he liked him so much.
Yep.
Really?
And was potentially and was potentially going to use him in that Star Wars Underground series that he was going to do.
There was a game that was going to come out called Star Wars 1313.
Yep. That was going to be like an
Uncharted.
Yeah.
And the writer of it was going to be Amy Hennig from the Uncharted series. And she's like one of the most brilliant video game writers as far as focusing it on good characters.
Right.
And those characters, when they did that tech demo, it seemed like it was an already lived in, like they were on Coruscant, they're going down to level 1313 of this sub-world below the big city.
Well, they were thinking that was potentially like, there was some connection with the Underground thing too, like Underground wasn't going to happen, like the TV show, so they're like, let's make a fucking video game about essentially what we wanted to do.
You know what I want them to make a video game about? I want them to do Jason and Jaina's Day Out from the Jedi Academy trilogy of books. Because there's like 3 chapters where Jason and Jaina get out of their fucking apartment, their senatorial apartment on Coruscant when they're just babies. And they end up in the Undercity and they just have a baby's day out style adventure, yeah.
And those are the offspring of
Han and Leia, the twins. Because, you know, they had to have twins at the pottery.
It's pottery.
Yeah.
Luke and Leia.
Yeah.
Makes sense. That's funny, though.
Oh, we gotta use Firefox.
I just don't like how they can just cherry pick what they like and what they don't like and just call one thing completely not canon, but then just take something from it and be like, just that specific part is good.
Well, but I mean, you see that in everything that's an adaptation or whatever of different things, like the Marvel books and shit. They don't shoot actual comic book storylines. They pick and choose things.
They do cherry pick, and that's my beef with those things too, because they're doing their own thing, and it's being focus grouped by a bunch of people saying like, I don't really want this. It's not gonna sell well. It's not gonna be promotion worthy. It's not gonna be all these other things that producers, their buzzwords in their head are like, yeah, we can't just go after the comic book audience. We gotta get the girls in this. We gotta get the kids. We gotta get all these other people.
Because Civil War was a comic book series.
Problem was with Episode 7, they were pandering to people that don't watch Star Wars.
Well, yeah, they wanted to bring in new people. That's unfortunate, but that's what happens with movies too. It's annoying. But
they could have done it without pandering.
Like Civil War, the actual comic book was, we want all you guys to register, and so we know all your secret identities and all that shit. And then the government will have like control of you essentially, and you whatever. Because what happens is
you gotta be held accountable.
There's a group of teenage superheroes. God, I forget their name. The New Warriors. And they've been around for a long time, but they had like a reality show, and they were filming it, and they went after this guy named Nitro, who usually isn't like a big deal, but he was janked up with fucking like mutant growth hormone, and so his powers were just accelerated, and he exploded and blew up this fucking like town essentially, including this school and shit that they were right by, and like some New Warriors died and shit like that, and so that was just like, holy shit, we need to put reins on the superheroes. And then they wanted them to register and reveal their secret identities or whatever, and Tony Stark was just like, all right, let's do it, whatever.
He's already outed himself.
And then, well, he had reneged it a couple times, but came out again and said it. And then, like, Spider-Man initially was on his side, and he revealed who he was and shit to everybody, and, like, but then, like, Cap was like, nah, that's not freedom, bruh. and fucking had his team that was all
Which
underground
is
and
so
shit.
ironic that he's like Captain America. And he's like, this is our freedom.
Yeah, exactly. So he got
And then they
all his
turned him
bros
into
and
an agent of
they went
Hydra.
underground, and there was a bunch of fighting. People died.
Those evil white men.
And then, like, it ended up with a one-on-one battle between Iron Man and Captain America. And there's people all around, like, jeering Captain America. He's just like, no, this isn't what I wanted, and this isn't whatever. So he just sets his shield down, and they arrest him. And as he's getting hauled into the fucking jail, he gets shot. Initially, you think it's Crossbones, but you find out it's his fucking girlfriend or whatever. And he dies. And that's like Civil War in a nutshell. And the movie is they couldn't really do the registration thing because nobody really has a secret identity in the Avengers. Like, everybody knows who everybody is.
Yeah.
And like, so they couldn't do that. So that was out. Like, nobody died. It was just like, you got the feign that fucking that War Machine was gonna die, but he didn't. And like, there's no real, like, there's never any, like, with a lot of the Marvel stuff, there's not a lot of real consequences out of it, which I think.
That Quicksilver kid died in that last movie.
But he was just introduced. He wasn't anybody that anybody knew.
No, he wasn't.
He was introduced and killed in that movie. Age of Ultron was also a storyline in the comic books. Nothing like the fucking movie. They just took the name, essentially. And Ultron was created by Hank Pym, Ant-Man, not Tony Stark. And
The original Ant-Man, not the Paul
who was a
Rudd one.
founding Avenger. But in the Ant-Man movie, they decided to make him an old S.H.I.E.L.D. operative and have fucking the second Ant-Man, Scott Lang, be the Ant-Man in the Marvel Universe, which is kind of annoying, too. Because it's just like, alright, fucking Captain America's not a founding Avenger.
No.
Not. The founding Avengers were Ant-Man and Wasp, were very integral to it, Thor, and Iron Man. They got together to stop mind-controlled Hulk, who was mind-controlled by Loki.
I use the bathroom real quick.
And wasn't like the original like Fantastic Four nothing like that? Wasn't like Spider-Man like his first introduction in that?
No.
It wasn't?
No. But he's always been good friends with them.
He's always been in the Fantastic Four comics though.
Well, he's been in them a lot, yeah, because he's really good friends with Johnny Storm.
And they don't even allude to that in any of those either.
Well, they can't, because Sony owns Spider-Man. And Fox owns Fantastic Four. Yep. So they can't.
See, that's where you just run into conflict right there, where it's like you get the rights to these things, but you're not willing to like give up the rights to make it more profitable. It's like, just give up your rights, sell it for $1 billion.
Well, yeah, and one of the most stable lineups of the Avengers.
Because they're losing money with these Fantastic Four movies. Yep. They're losing money with the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, but they don't want to give up the rights to it.
I know, and they're so just maniacal with like, I want the rights because it's that IP. I love that IP. I need Spider-Man because it'll put butts in the seats. But you're making shit movies. You're doing product placement in every one of your Spider-Man movies. The most recent Spider-Man movies, everything was Sony Bio. Look at my Sony tablet. Look at my Sony thing. Whatever. Everything is shot on Sony. Which is fine. I love Sony's like
but
HD
that's
cameras.
The thing too is like Sony's not going to have a movie where their character's using an iPhone.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like that's
it's
Brandon.
And
because it's just like how in a fucking like Marvel movie, you're not going to hear him talk about Bugs Bunny.
Right. And in like the new Ghostbusters that was made by Sony, everything was on Sony based like kind of IPs everywhere. You could see like
because they're not going to promote for anybody else. You know?
It's so. That's where movies are for me right now. Is just a product placement. It's like, oh wow, these big IPs are just like, okay.
That's how they get that money.
I know and how they resell and rebrand things.
Yeah.
I bet you $1 million when that Spider-Man with the last kid, Andrew Garfield, came out. There were so many promotional things going on.
There was. That's why they actually lost money on that movie. The movie cost 300 and some million. It made 700 some million. They lost money on it still because of all the marketing shit and all the other shit they did for it.
What they gotta learn is Fox has a right way of marketing because they marketed Deadpool perfectly.
And they market X-Men well.
They marketed X-Men, but I would say that they marketed Deadpool just perfect.
Yeah.
If they can do something like that where it goes like viral, and it doesn't really know what focus Deadpool is because they
That's
market
the
it
thing,
as like
though,
a
too,
love
is, like-
story, and I told
Yeah.
people like it's a great love story. You should go watch it.
Yep.
It was on Valentine's Day. I was like,
Yep.
it's perfect. Go watch it.
Go see it. They yeah.
It was clever.
They but see what sucks too is the pettiness doesn't just stop with movie companies. The comic books get petty too. Like there hasn't been a Fantastic Four title in like since right before the movie came out. A couple months before the movie that came out, they canceled the Fantastic Four book. And it wasn't even their like worst selling book or anything. Like it was middle bar.
How much do you know about the Fantastic Four?
Pretty good amount.
What would you say is the best story arc in the Fantastic Four that you would have loved to see on TV or on a movie or on whatever?
Well, it's the one they shittily adapted for Rise of the Silver Surfer. It's the Coming of Galactus.
See, I love Silver Surfer as a superhero because he's just like a lone wolf.
Well, he's tormented by what he has to do.
I know.
Because he becomes
His plight is
he becomes his herald, Galactus' herald, to save his planet from getting destroyed. So he has to help him ingest other planets to save his planet.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just entirely guilt-ridden with it. And he's got the power cosmic, which in Marvel is just like stupid powerful.
That's why I loved him because he didn't use that power for anything really. Like
No,
I
he
loved
needs to.
his
You should check out.
his style of superhero, like his story, and then what he has to deal with his whole life. It's like a struggle, but he knows he's so
Right.
powerful, but he's just like so strengthened in his own will to like do things good.
He's got a book out right now. I think it's still going. With an artist named Mike Allred, who did. He's a very famous comic artist, and he did what's his name? His name's like Madman or some shit like that. But it's basically what like Freakazoid kind of ripped off.
Oh, okay.
And he's a really good artist, and they're doing him and the guy who's been in Control Spider-Man for the last few years, Dan Slott, do a Silver Surfer title now. That's good as fuck. And the art's really good. I stopped getting it just because it wasn't on my pull list. It was one I'd grab, and then I forgot about it for a few months, and then I was just like having trouble money wise, so I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
just won't get it.
That's the new art from it.
Yeah, that's some of the art from it. Oop.
Yeah,
It's
I mean they keep the original board. I mean his Kamehameha board.
Yep.
It's a big ass Hawaiian board.
Yeah, it is.
But they use
The art
that.
is just super good because Mike Allred rules.
Well, and anything to deal with like a dude just
Cosmic.
travels through cosmos.
That's the thing.
Just-
The thing I always say: be weary of anything fucking mainline Marvel, but if it's fucking cosmic Marvel, fucking go for it. Read it, because cosmic Marvel is like the best. Cosmic Marvel is what DC is all the time. So it's like, it's the big ideas and the fucking like good deep storytelling and cool art and just like, you know,
really out there stories.
challenges you to like fucking think about stuff.
Yeah,
It's always that's
where
what
it's like
I
a
always
deep.
liked.
It's a deep thinker. It's a thinker kind of piece.
Yeah, and it's always the cosmic shit in Marvel. Otherwise, like everything else, be weary of. But like,
Because it's a give and take. Like, I didn't like that story arc, or that's really just not interesting to me. But when
Yeah.
people can tell captivating stories in that setting,
right,
it makes it so much more gratifying.
exactly. It's just
Silver Surfer, I would say, is one of my favorite Marvel characters.
yeah. That the whole Coming of Galactus storyline, the one that I was talking about, that they kind of shittily adapted into Rise of the Silver Surfer. That storyline's like,
I will watch that movie just to hear the Silver
Lawrence
Surfer
Fishburne?
talk.
Lawrence Fishburne.
Just his whole plight when
Lawrence
he's just like,
Fishburne.
Galactus will come and eat this world. Like
Lawrence
his,
Fishburne's talking with Doug Jones' physicality.
yeah,
'Cause
it's
that's who
just
did the body for it.
just that, his monologues and things like that when he talks.
Right.
Make the
That's
movie.
what I liked about
They make that movie. Everything else is kind of shovelware. It's just like whatever. It's
I
garbage.
just I hate when they do fucking like they use like the ultimate version of Galactus, which is just like a cloud, a essentially.
And it's not his big horned helmet thing.
Yeah, it's not like an actual physical body.
Yeah.
It's like a fucking cloud.
That's what they did with Dormammu. Dormammu was...
I know, and that bugged me. That was one of the things that bugged me about it.
So I hope that Dormammu, if they make another Doctor Strange, that he's more embodied.
And also not easily fucking tricked and fucking done away with in like the dumbest way possible.
Yeah, I think that was kind of like a ham-fisted way.
I loved that they made the Dark Dimension look just like fucking Ditko's fucking Dark Dimension.
With all those different spires and
like
purple shit going on.
That was right on, but it was just like Dormammu. I was like, dude, come on, bro. You failed me on Dormammu. He's the shit.
I know, he's like a flaming head and...
He's a flaming, like, ribbed sweater.
Yeah. He's got, like, just ripples going across his face.
Like a fucking ribbed sweater of cosmic
and
stuff.
It's like you throw a rock in a river. It's just, like, keeps rippling around his face. It's like, what the hell is this?
It's just dealt in the dump. Like, Kaecilius was, like, your typical Marvel villain. He's there. He's got a believable enough fucking motivation.
And his motivations were spot on. It's like, this one's using...
Well, yeah, exactly.
The immortal person is using...
It was better than some of the other ones they've had, but, like, it was still your typical Marvel villain thing. And then here, he's not really the fucking villain, and he's done away with, and then fucking, it's Dormammu. And
it's the 11th hour, it says Dormammu now.
And then it's fucking, time doesn't exist here, I'm gonna introduce time. And then just a dumb montage, and I'm just like, this looks great, but like...
That montage was used in the books, though, isn't it?
I'm sure
where he actually trapped Dormammu in that time paradox?
It's probably. I haven't read all Strange stuff, but like... Yeah, it was just weird.
I think it was part of one, because I remember doing some. I was like, that's kind of interesting. I wonder if they actually borrowed that from something, because that concept is fun.
They use
that's a fun concept.
Use a lot of things from it, but it's like... I was just kind of
underwhelming right at the last second. It's like, you're introducing this bad guy now?
Yeah, it was like, I knew Dormammu was going to be in there, but I didn't know how much he was going to be in there. Just at the tail end there, and not really used at all. Just like big menacing man, undone by time loop. And I was just like, okay. Like, it was like,
should we do it?
Visually it was cool. And the story wasn't bad. The humor didn't hit.
Humor was kind of plugged in just at the last second.
The only humor that hit was the fucking...
Beyonce shit? It was really garbage right there.
Yeah, the only humor that hit was the cape.
That was fun.
Yeah,
that cape was fun.
That's the only thing that hit. I was in a theater full of people, and there was chuckles here and there, but there was no laughs except for the cape.
The cape, when the cape like wrapped around that dude's head and just slammed him in the ground constantly, and he's like, "Jeez, like a chill pill. What the fuck?"
Disney knows how to make anthropomorphized fabric.
Yeah, they do.